Tonight, we take a look at Christ's latest adventure and PLU's theater upcoming play, Amadeus. Hello, Lutz, and welcome to the News at 9. I'm Angelina Johnson. PLU President Thomas Christ and his wife, Patty Christ, participated in the Habitat Challenge for Habitat for Humanity last Friday by rappelling down the Hotel Romano in downtown Tacoma. Mast TV was on the scene.
So this is the Habitat for Humanity fundraiser, and so we were rappelling down the side in exchange for donations to Habitat for Humanity, which is one of our best partners that we have through the Center for Community Engagement and Service. So lots of our students and faculty and staff are engaged with Habitat for Humanity, and so this was a way to help support our partner.
Yeah, and Joel, who heads up the Center for Community Engagement, strongly encouraged us to participate. So said, hey, would you do this? So I signed a spoon.
Yeah.
Months ago.
Yeah. Well, the hard part is
leaning back.
Leaning back when you're just on the edge of the building and leaning back, getting started. That's the rest of it's relatively easy after you do that. So, it's too bad that the hardest part is right at the beginning.
My legs were shaking a little bit. Yeah, that was at first. And then once you kind of 20 feet or so, then you go, oh yeah, this is comfortable and we can do it. So,
we're just really pleased with Habitat for Humanity and PLU's connection with them.
The event raised $90,000, and as a result, Habitat for Humanity now hopes to make it an annual event. PLU Homecoming is near. From October 14th to the 16th, PLU will be hosting a multitude of events for families to enjoy. For the full schedule, visit plu.edu/homecoming. If you haven't noticed already, there are 2 Amazon lockers that have been placed around campus. Students and staff can now use Amazon lockers as a secure option to receive and return packages ordered from Amazon.com. The 2 lockers are located in the UC by Campus Concierge and in the Morgan Center. Stressed out and overwhelmed? Follow Shirley Says on Twitter at PLU Shirley Says for useful tips and tricks to get through the day. For a personal response from Shirley, email mast@plu.edu and look for your answers in the Mast. All submissions are anonymous and tailored to your needs. The class of 2017 graduation ceremony has been moved from the typical Saturday of May 27th to a Thursday, May 25th, due to the Tacoma Dome being booked. PLU considered other venues in the area, but after surveying seniors, they decided to change the date rather than the place. Mast TV talked to the students this week about how they felt about the change of the date.
I was actually one of the few people that was lucky enough to be talked to about that and have some input for that, so I felt glad to be able to talk about that, and it really does make the most sense, I think, because of losing the Tacoma Dome on Saturday night. We could have done a week earlier, we could have gone to another venue. There weren't very many though, and so it makes sense to me, and I just feel bad for the people that have family that lives farther away, because that means that they have to have their family, fly out during the week.
It's definitely going to be more difficult for my family to be able to make it to the graduation, but it's more important to me that everybody graduates together than it is to have graduation on a Saturday.
I don't care that much. Mostly I am just wondering if my grandparents will be able to get out on a weekday to come.
I'm glad that there's still going to be a ceremony this year. Kind of disheartened that it's on a Thursday as opposed to the weekend, like it has been. I know a lot of my friends who have children stuff probably won't be going because it's on a weekday and it's harder to facilitate babysitters and whatnot.
While I'm not exactly a fan of the change of day, I think it's better that we're changing the day to still have it at the Tacoma Dome instead of switching it up so that we have our graduation here. For it being basically the culmination of our 4 years here, it's something that should be special, and having it at the Olson Gym is not.
That's what our seniors had to say. If you have other thoughts, tweet them to us at PLU Mast. The ASPLU team has taken shape ASPLU Senate election results are in. Almost 500 ballots were cast. Plenty of new faces will be joining ASPLU, and to find out who, you can check out the staff report on page 5 of last week's Mast. Speaking of casting a ballot this year, ASPLU is working to make sure that students go to the polls for this year's presidential election. To help students prepare for the election, ASPLU is hosting a variety of events over the next month. To learn more about each event, visit www.plu.edu/ASPLU/vote. Also, there will be an event talking about gender in Zambier 201 tomorrow night at 6 p.m. and a talk about Islamophobia and Hispanophobia next Thursday in Zambier 201 at 5 p.m. Another event that ASPLU hosted was the annual Ruth Anderson Public Debate, where students debated over whether a third-party vote is a wasted vote. The debate took place last night in Carol Hilly Phillips Center at 7 p.m. Mast TV was there to see who would come out on top.
PLU's annual Ruth Anderson Public Debate was held last night in KHP. Mast TV spoke with moderator and communication professor Justin Eckstein on what he believed was a successful night.
I thought it went really, really well. I thought we had a really good turnout. I thought the level and quality of arguments was superb. I thought we had a really great clash and amazing audience engagement.
The debate covered third-party votes, which are obviously pertinent with the election looming, and the students showed that they were engaged.
Well, I think the demographic data suggests that our students, millennials in particular, are going to have a huge impact on this election, and that they overwhelmingly are considering voting third party. So I thought that this debate would be an excellent opportunity for them to test the different reasons for and against making such a voting decision.
Eckstein has pretty strong feelings about third-party voting as well.
I think you should. I firmly believe if that's what you want to do, a vote shouldn't be tied to a consequence. I think votes should be principled in nature. So if you feel like you want to vote for a third party, you should be able to vote for a third party.
And if students are interested in debating at PLU, Eckstein can point you in the right direction.
Well, we practice Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 to 8, Ingram 109, or they should just shoot me an email at justin.eckstein@plu.edu, and I'd be happy to talk with them.
This is Jake Bilyeu reporting for Mast TV.
For 2 reasons.
Somewhat surprisingly, most of the audience became convinced that the third-party vote was not a waste, after the majority of the audience initially declared that the opposite was true. Well, that's all we have for the news this week, but don't go away, we've got culture for you right after this break.
The river is so much greater than us.
This is something we have to protect. Our great expansion of the economy and the greater use of chemicals following World War II led to a lot of toxic waste entering our waterways.
In the 1950s and 60s, we turned our back to the river, and now we're really struggling to make sure that they're the centerpiece again.
Finally, after decades and decades, communities are beginning to turn to the river. We still have people who don't know where their drinking water comes from, and they don't know what happens when they flush the toilet. So there's more public awareness work we need to do.
The development that gives me the biggest hope for the future is the tremendous number of citizens that are rolling up their sleeves and getting involved in the fight for clean water.
It's not a lot of huge grand projects, but it's a lot of cumulative small projects.
We started trying to think about other ways to solve the problem. So what are the tools and solutions that we can use? We still need that on the ground work to happen, but how do you make it happen faster?
Only when we have a vital and rich connection to our waterways can we pass on that natural heritage and ensure it remains protected for generations to come.
Welcome back to News at 9. I'm Angelina Johnson. A group of students recently released their first album, 11 Apollos. The new extended play, The Arrival, was released on September 24th. The album features 4 tracks including hits like Ill Clinton and Ted Cruz' Carpet Bombed Me. Group members Dietrich Hansen and Matthew Flaherty spoke with the Mast in an interview that can be found on page 7 of last week's Mast. Speaking of talented musicians, PLU's Jazz Ensemble will be hosting the first concert of the year this Friday at 8 p.m. in KHP. PLU's Wind Ensemble will also be hosting a concert on September 15th at 8 p.m. in Lagerquist Concert Hall. The Tourne's Film Festival, which has been put together by PLU professors Giovanna Erdengarin and Rebecca Wilkin, will have plenty of films to go, including a showing of Hippocrates' Diary of a French Doctor this Friday night at 5:30 in Ingram 100. You can find more information on the film at plu.edu's homepage. PLU's theater has some exciting events coming soon. And on our last news at 9, we previewed Death of the Maiden, which premieres this Friday at 7:30 p.m. and Saturday at 9:30 p.m. You only get 2 chances to see it, so don't miss out. PLU will also be presenting As We Stumble Along this year's Night of Musical Theater on October 27th, 28th, and 29th. Be on the lookout for the Mast TV preview in the near future. But before we go see Night of Musical Theater, be sure to check out Amadeus, directed by theater professor Jeff Clapp. Mast TV visited the cast and crew to talk about the upcoming play.
Can we do that one more time? Nemico Eterno!
I think that Salieri kind of represents everybody who comes to see him in an extent. Like, he's jealousy. He's just like the embodiment of jealousy. Like, I should have gotten this, I deserve this, somebody else got it, and he just reacts in the worst possible way.
I think that this character is really interesting. This is actually the first time I'm playing a very kid-like character. She is very light, especially in the beginning of the show, and very happy and in love, and it's kind of nice.
Well, I guess he's very much a kid at heart, and he has so much going on in that he is so passionate about the things that he loves, and he cares about it so much that he's willing to do anything for them. So I feel like I really identify with him in sort of that sense.
I love the idea of 2 things. One, a person who is talented, who has pretty much everything going for them. They know the right people, they understand the business, they understand music, they understand the arts, but they're not all that talented. And how that person can change when they see a person who doesn't know any of that, except they're a genius. It's the development of resentment, which is a really cool conflict in theater and, well, life. But how Salieri resents Mozart for this God gift that Mozart has been given, but Mozart doesn't see it. Mozart doesn't even care about it. Mozart doesn't help it. He doesn't do anything. It all comes to him so easily. Whereas Salieri has to work for it and try hard and serve his fellow men and women and do all these things to remain in the good graces of God. Yet, there's this person who's so much better, unbelievably better. Why wasn't he given that gift?
There will be a free student preview of Amadeus on October 13th at 7:30 p.m. in KHP. The play will also be performed on October 14th, 15th, 21st, and a 2:30 matinee will occur on the 22nd. For everything cultural on campus, I'm Angelina Johnson. Up next is Sarah Burns with sports.
think it's not only a great way for like physical activity, but I think it's a great way for people to bond together and make friendships. Because I've met most of my friends here at PLU through intramurals and sports.
It brings a fun competitive atmosphere as far as just like getting out there, getting some exercise, playing the sport you like playing. There's t-shirts at the end. If you're the champions, you get some t-shirts and all that kind of stuff, so there's prizes you can win. It's just a really fun way to go out and compete. Even if you're not playing at a college level in the sport, you can go out and have fun with some friends and all that.
It's a stress reliever for many students, so it's just a great way to connect with friends and enjoy and have fun.
I think it gives a chance for students to work out and have fun competitively, but not too competitively, so not at the varsity level, but just for fun.
I think it brings an opportunity to expand your horizon of friendships, but also to be more active, because in college we just sit a lot and read a lot of textbooks, and that's kind of torture.
Welcome back to News at 9. I'm Sarah Burns, and this is Everything in Sports. Volleyball kicked off the weekend on a high note, defeating Whitman 3-1 on the road. Unfortunately, their 2-game winning streak was brought to an end on Saturday with a tough 5-set loss to Whitworth. The Lutes finished out the weekend with a conference record of 4-2. One of the players on the volleyball team has a very special fan, her 3-year-old daughter. Junior Kiana Callis was featured on the front page of last week's Mast, where she told her story of how she balances studying, playing volleyball, and raising her daughter Ellie, who's also her #1 fan at the games. Pick up a copy of the Mast to read more about Kiana. Men's soccer drove to Oregon last weekend for some tough competition. The Lutes played Linfield on Saturday. The match ended in a 1-1 tie after playing through double overtime. Sunday morning, the team headed to Willamette, hoping to improve their record, but fell short with a 2-0 loss. The team is home this weekend to take on crosstown rival UPS on Saturday. Football started off conference play last week with a 27-16 win over Pacific. Safety Travis McMillian tallied 13 tackles and 1 interception, earning him Northwest Conference Defensive Player of the Week, while punter Anthony Luthane averaged 40.5 yards per kick on 6 punts, pinning the Boxers inside the 10 twice, earning him Northwest Conference Special Teams Player of the Week honors. The team goes to Oregon to take on Willamette this Saturday. Women's golf had a dominant performance at the Whitworth Invite this past weekend. The Lutes won the 4-team event by a 60-stroke margin, with team members Desiree Hazelwood and Genki Jen Azone taking first and second overall. The team heads to Creswell, Oregon for the Northwest Conference Fall Classic this weekend. Men's golf fell just short of taking the crown at the Whitman Invite this past weekend. The Lutes lost by 8 strokes to opponent George Fox with a weekend tally of 610 in the 8-team event. The men drive to Salem, Oregon this weekend for the Northwest Conference Fall Classic. Cross country was in Salem, Oregon last weekend for the Charles Bowles Invitational. Shaylee Woodard led the women's team in their 19th place finish. The Invitational featured teams from all 3 NCAA divisions. For the men's team, Brad Hodkinson continued to dominate, placing 4th overall and 1st among Division III competitors. Hodkinson's performance helped the Lutes secure a 12th place overall finish and earned him Northwest Conference Runner of the Week for the second time in 3 weeks. Women's tennis opened their season this past weekend at the Intercollegiate Tennis Association Northwest Regionals. Caroline Dreyer and Megan Byers had solid performances for the Lutes, with Dreyer advancing to the round of 16. Women's soccer had yet another weekend of shutouts. The Lutes beat Pacific on Saturday and Willamette on Sunday, both with scores of 2-0.
The team only allowed 2 shots on goal over the course of the weekend, earning defender Kelly White Northwest Conference Defensive Player of the Week honors. The 17th ranked Lutes took on crosstown rivals Puget Sound earlier tonight, resulting in a 0-0 tie that kept the Lutes even with UPS atop the Northwest Conference with a record of 8-0-3. The Lutes take on George Fox at 12 p.m. this Saturday on East Field. And finally, PLU's Olson Gymnasium saw plenty of improvements come this summer. Mast TV spoke with some athletes about their impressions on the new building.
I think they're really cool, actually. I think it makes it more enjoyable to walk around Olson, and I think whoever designed it did a great job with incorporating all the sports.
I think it's really cool. I think now when people come into Olson and they look up, they're just like, wow, like that's what a Lute is, you know, and it's all the sports represented, and it's so many different athletes that we all know and are friends with, and to see them up on the wall, it's really, really cool.
I really like the addition of the murals to the Olson Gym. I think it's cool to see our friends, people that we know and love, up on the board, and along with people that played here in the past.
If there's a few things that I could probably change about Olson, I think that there should be a lot more designs around the gym as a whole.
I would love, you know, new women's locker rooms, maybe more women's locker rooms with showers would be really cool. Maybe sprucing up the hallways that are a little sad and plain some days, but other than that, I love Olson.
I think they should remodel the athletic training room and possibly add some more cold tubs.
I personally, this is super biased, but I personally enjoy seeing both the soccer teams on there, just because I know both the players that are on the mural, and they're the coolest action shots there.
I love the shot of Kaylee Roselle. She's my teammate, and I'm like, yeah, you go, girl.
Next time you're catching a game in Olson, take a look around at all of the new sites. That's all we have for you tonight. Our next episode is on October 19th, so we'll see you in 2 weeks.